everybody's in the room.
Great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking your time to join this session, and we think you'll find it very interesting, fulfilling session. My name is Mark Collins. I'm the director of the Service Leaders Network. A Service Leaders Network is a division of the Nationwide Marketing Group, and we support appliance dealers who have a service organization, whether that's one person or 100 people. Doesn't matter. We are all things appliance service, delivery, and installation. So thank you for coming into the meeting today. We've been working very diligently on a lot of things in the Service Leaders Network. We've got a lot of initiatives that we work on and programs and projects. One of those, of course, is to bring all 850 appliance servicing dealers within Nationwide to become a single community. Prior to Service Leaders Network development, everyone pretty much operated on as an island because you didn't have a lot of representation. And that's certainly changed now that you have Service Leaders Network. You've got Carmine and I operate the Service Leaders Network. We both got 40 years or more in the appliance service industry. So we understand service. We would love to say we know everything, but we don't. And as Carmine says many times, I don't know what I don't know. But getting back to the point of this discussion, we try to create value-added programs, resources, and services and training for you, our nationwide servicing members, and also the independents that support our non-servicing dealers. You know, one of the things that is important for you to know how to do is how to negotiate your manufacturer warranty rates. And there's a lot of discussion around that. And I would like to say that we are tackling that segment of your business organization. We have created, even last year, several videos and several programs, which some of those you will see on this very virtual service conference over the next 2 days. We've created some programs for you to be able to know how to negotiate your manufacturer warranty rates. And we've also given you resources and programs and services on how to calculate and figure out your cost of doing business. Your cost of doing business is absolutely the very first step that you need to take in considering how to negotiate your warranty rates. But a lot of you are not real great negotiators, and we try to help you with that. So I created 2 video series last year, and they have been posted since that time on Service Leaders Network webpage within MemberNet. And they're videos on how to negotiate your manufacturer warranty rates. As I mentioned, both Carmine and I have had decades of experience. We have both worked for multiple manufacturers as field service reps, and we were both the guy that sat on the other side of the table from you negotiating your rates. And I will tell you that the job of a field service manager in negotiating rates is to get the highest key performance out of you and help you to meet those key performance indicators that they demand, while at the same time paying you as least amount of money as they can. That is their job. They're trying to reduce the cost of warranty within their manufacturer organization, but yet they're also trying to increase the key performances that you provide for them through your service. And a lot of that's done through surveys. I've kind of taken a moment here to talk a little bit about warranty, how to negotiate warranty rates. I am getting to a point, and one of those points is you need to have tools to negotiate your warranty rates. And so Nationwide is the first and the only organization within the appliance service industry to pull together a database of warranty rates to where you can look at the warranty rates nationally as an average and even statewide by an average within your own state. As we perfect and improve the capabilities and the functionality of this program, it will also enable you to maybe zero in on regionally within a certain area of where you operate to compare your rates with those two. Why is it important for you to know this information as far as national averages? Do you get that from anywhere else? None of the trade associations have that. Obviously, the manufacturers are not going to offer that information, but we as a marketing and technology organization and within the Service Leaders Network realm, we know that need is out there. And so we have developed a tool for you to be able to do that. I'm going to tell you that this is a pay to play tool. You don't have to pay money for it. It's part of what we offer to you if you're a Nationwide Marketing Group member. And if you're not a member, we are looking at putting a program together to make the membership available to you as an independent. But this tool is available to you now. And what this tool will do as we go through it, it will show you the different functions of it and the features of it and the advantages of it. And I think you'll quickly see each step that we go through, how this tool will enable you to be a better business person and a better negotiator with your manufacturers. Carmine is sharing his screen. And for those of you that are Nationwide members, you do need to have a user ID and login available. If you do not have a user ID and login available, whoever is the administrator for your company, you would want to contact them and ask them to give you a user ID and login credentials so that you can access this. As you see, many of you do have access to MemberNet. When you log in, this is the landing page as you see it. And over on the far right side, you'll see icons under services information. And notice top dead center is the Service Leaders Network logo, as you see on my shirt, and as you see the icon there as well. If you click on that, that will take you to the landing page for the Service Leaders Network. And here, there's a lot of information in here. We're certainly not going to take the time at this moment to give you a tour of this, but as Carmine is rotating around the link there, service provider database, this is where you'll have the opportunity to gather information, to input information, and then to also see the results of that information. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to one of the co-developers, Chad Blake, who is going to do a navigation through this for you. And as he goes through this, Carmine and I will be interjecting some comments about, the reasoning or the importance of going through this service provider detail and analytics, as we say as well. I'd also like to introduce, and she's behind the scenes right now, Lau Ruhoff, who supports Chad in the IT development organization of Nationwide. She has been extremely invaluable to get this program created. Lau will tell you that she loves data because we can do so much with data. So Chad, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your screen and navigate us through the service provider details and analytics. And Carmine and I will kind of interject here and there. Thank you, Chad.
Okay. So can you see my screen here, or is it a blank screen?
It's a beautiful multicolored mountain valley.
Oh, all right. So I have a couple monitors. I didn't know which one. How about now?
Perfect.
Okay. So this is the landing page. And when you click the link here, it will take you to the landing page for our service or database. Now, I am logged in as an actual member, the appliance place. Picked it at random, mostly because I actually grew up a few miles away from Colonial Heights, so it was just completely random. But when you log in, it will have your member information. And as you can see here, there's already some data that I've submitted that I've been testing with. This is just dummy data for the demo. And also when you log in, you will have a chance to select your service manager. And it should have your team listed here. And you just select one, click save. Now, what this is a simple one-page form. It looks long, but that's just because we have a lot of brands that we have listed here. And you don't have to submit data for every brand. You can submit incomplete data. You can come back at any time and edit and update your data. So you just go through the list here of your brands that you service, enter your warranty rates, select whether they are in warranty or out of warranty, and then choose your rate renewal date. And in this big list of brands, if you don't see the brand that you service, we also have a search here. You just click this little link, and then you can come in here and start searching for whatever brand that you service. And it will add a new line here at the bottom. And if you still haven't found a brand that we haven't listed here, then you can type in the brand manually. So after you enter your brand's data, there is a section for some simple questions. Then we have our software, our extended warranties, and distributors and trade associations. If you don't have your data, you can just remind you can come back at a later time and select the ones that you have. And if there's one that's not listed, you have the opportunity to add as many any new ones here as you like for each section.
So Chad, if you can scroll to the top again, all of this data here, as you folks, as you see the headers in here, this gives you the opportunity to check for in warranty and also out of warranty. Let's kind of review these a little bit here. Why is it important to know, to have this information in here? Well, certainly for the warranty, if you look over on the far right side of the screen, the headers, you'll see rate increase renewal date. And you'll put, you can open that calendar, and for each of the different brands, you can put in your rate renewal date when you got your last increase. We have defaulted that to send you an email. Chad and Lau help me out. I believe it's 60 days prior to the expiration or this date, the expiration of your 1-year anniversary for this.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's 60 days. So so many of our servicers, you get so busy, you tend to lose sight of time. And when it's time for you to, request your rate increase, and your rate increases are available on an annual basis, typically on your anniversary date. There are some brands that will automatically renew it on their specified renewal date. I know with Whirlpool, every year you should be getting an email around November, December that tells you that your contract is coming up for review. You need to go into Service Bench and click that. And I can tell you, we get a lot of inquiries from our servicing dealers that say, Whirlpool canceled my contract. Well, it's not that they canceled it, it's that you didn't renew it. So this will help you to remind you of that. And then you have some other brands, I believe, I don't want to speak out of turn, so I'm not going to mention the name, but I think one brand does your increases on an every other year. But you would want to put those renewal dates in there. That gives you a calendar event or a calendar reminder that your warranty rates are getting ready to expire. And that's when you need to be proactive and start contacting your field service rep and get ready to negotiate those terms. There's a lot more that goes behind negotiating, as I spoke to at the beginning of this. But is this also available, Chad, for the third-party administrators contracts?
And which is what?
The extended warranties?
Oh, for the renewal date?
Right. So we don't have it in there for the extended warranties. We will put that on the to-do list for the next rollout of the next update, and see if we can't put that functionality in there as well.
That's correct. This is a application that's a work in progress, so there will be some more features in the coming weeks that we will add.
And as we go through this, folks, if you think of something or you have a suggestion or a comment, please put it in the chat. If there is a particular functionality that you would like to see, put that in the chat, because this is where I will once again echo Carmine's comment about we don't know what we don't know. We think we have built in a strong platform here with a lot of functionality, but there may be some things in here that you could see as beneficial to the whole. And that's something that we would certainly want to do.
Hey, Mark, I just want to touch base on one thing. Going back up, Chad, to the rates. The reason that we want this, number one, is we need to be able to give you a red, yellow, or green light as far as where do you stand with the rate from, let's just say Electrolux major appliances. What we want to do is we want to give you that visibility. You will see a dashboard that will come up here soon, and it'll kind of tell you where you're at. See what Chad just showed. This is what you're going to see as your rate as compared to the average rate, just to see where it's at. We don't share this data, and that's number one thing I wanted to make sure everybody understood. The only people that see this data is Chad, Lau, Mark, and I. We don't care about the rate that you put in there. We just need to be very transparent that nobody sees anybody's rate. We are using this as a tool to communicate with you to make sure that you get your rate on time. And we also want to give you a comparison of where you're at. There's been a lot of discussion about rates and can't share rates and all that. You're not sharing the rate. As far as you're not sharing the rate, what we're doing is we're bouncing your rate off a national average. And the more people we get into this database, the better quantifiable the numbers will be. I just want to make sure we understood that.
Thank you, Carmine. That is correct. We definitely want you to understand that you're not sharing your information. And then I'll give you the ultimate goal of why we want to collect a lot of this data is, as you know, as Nationwide Marketing Group, we are a large broker or buyer, if you will, of major appliances through, 40, 50 different appliance brands. In case you want to know, we purchase or we broker about 10 billion with a B, $10 billion a year in appliance sales through our members to our manufacturers. That's a pretty substantial number. And you can imagine then when it comes time for our organization to negotiate sales agreements with the manufacturers, it's pretty obvious that we've got a heavy leverage in that. We've never had anything like that on the service side of our business. In fact, at this point, no organization has any type of that data to be able to leverage that. With the information that is compiled here, we cannot negotiate your warranty rates individually, but we can sure give you the tools, the resources, to be able for you to negotiate rates on your own terms and feel comfortable and confident that you've got the information to do that. As such, it helps us too as we, as Service Leaders Network, will be starting to be included into the sales agreements, sales negotiations with the manufacturers. This gives us the opportunity to have some leverage on the service side to be able to present to the manufacturers the state of where our organization is with many of these things in the service world. It also helps us to negotiate terms, policies, processes, things of that nature. So as we go through this whole program, think of why we're capitalizing on this data is really, again, to bring you from being a single island operating on your own to bringing you into a community that we can leverage the strength of what we really do have. It's just up until now, we don't know what we have. I see David has mentioned, are the rates I am seeing on the screen true and reflective of these brands? The answer is no. Chad has not been a service technician or business owner, and he thinks you guys get paid a lot of money. So that's why you see these bogus rates in here. This is a beta test. So sorry, David, that's they're not truly reflective.
That's correct. Just for the demo, I wanted to use our test environment, so we didn't share any actual data. And it has a list of all the brands here. Now, the ones with the locks are the ones that you don't submit data for. But if you go back and then submit, then it will calculate the averages and show you your rates comparison.
So I will say, I mentioned that this is pay to play. In the view where Chad was showing the different colors of what your rates are compared to others, if you do not put any detail in the rates fields, you will not see a result in those boxes. That's why we say it's pay to play. We need you to provide the information so that you can legitimately and accurately compare. And if we happen to see, because we'll run reports, and if we happen to see, somebody put in rates of $10, we're probably going to kick that out. We may contact you and say, are you really getting $10? We can get your raise to 12, I'm sure. So please put in the accurate information for your own benefit, as well as for the good of the whole. What's up next, Chad?
So at the bottom of the brands here is just a list of the data that you submitted. So and it does show all the software and warranties in case you did not enter data for it, so you can go back and re-enter it.
Now, with the service software and even the extended warranties, is there a field for them to add if they don't see it listed there?
Well, this is more of like the thanks page or the report card page. If you need to add one, then there's a button at the bottom that you just go back to the very first page. And this will load the most recent data that you submitted, and then you can come back here and add a new one.
So let's talk about each one of those and why it's important, why we're asking for this information. As you see, what is your average non-warranty labor rate? Now, this is not including parts, and this is subjective because, if there's 20 of you on this attendance, I can tell you there's 20 different ways that you're figuring your non-warranty labor rate. But in a nutshell, however you're figuring your labor rate, if you get a report, you look at your labor dollars and you divide it by your amount of COD calls, then that would be what your average non-warranty labor rate is. Why is it important to you? Again, this gives you an opportunity to look at the average warranty rates and see, if you're high or low or whatever the case may be. And Carmine, jump in any moment if you want. Full-time technicians. Carmine, why don't you talk to that one?
Here we go. Sorry, I'm just monitoring the background. How many full-time technicians you currently employ? That's really what we're trying to do is prove to the Department of Education and Department of Labor that this is a viable job for us to go ahead and get more funding through Skills USA to go ahead and just make appliance technician a well-known occupation. And that goes along with how many technicians do you looking to employ over the next 12 months. With this data, we can go ahead and take this to local government and see how we can make things better just to get technicians, because everybody needs technicians.
And additionally with that, when we know how many technicians we have in the Service Leaders Network workforce, it helps us to negotiate with manufacturers and with vendors and trade organizations. Carmine and I work weekly as we build programs, and a lot of the information needed is, well, how many technicians are in the employment of the nationwide network? Currently, we just don't know, but we hope to get an accurate number of that as you provide that information. How many technicians do you need to employ in the next 12 months? This gives us an opportunity to look at, we can run reports on how many technicians are needed and which members need those technicians in a hierarchy list. And it helps us to develop educational programs, as Carmine mentioned, with Skills USA. Skills USA is an educational organization that it supports 130 different trades, and one of those happens to be the residential and commercial appliance technology program. I happen to be the national co-chairman of that organization, and my responsibility is to solicit, promote, start, maintain, and support schools across America that offer the residential and commercial appliance technology program. We currently have 13 programs within the US. We do have that information on our MemberNet web, on our Service Leaders web page. We have a map of those schools, but this helps us to develop programs and even develop educational facilities to meet your needs for the growth that you need. So that's another reason why we do that. Same with the CFC question. How many are all of them CFC? Well, if they're not, then that tells us, again, some programs that we can put in place, some additional training that we can offer for your technicians, technical training to get them geared up for it, and then the actual test can be given as well, so that your folks can become CFC certified. So that's what we're looking at. I'll let Carmine talk about the service slots.
Yeah, we have a performance group that Nick is on. I think Gina, if that's Gina, I'm thinking it is. So they asked for this. They kind of help guide us through how we can help the members. And they found it very important to go and show how many slots, how many calls each technician has per day, just to see on average where you're at. If you realize that, boy, I could, I'm really, lagging here, and how can I make it better? We're just trying to give you the comparison itself. And that's about it with the technician's average. Some of the other things, though, as you slide down the service software, we really want to know about the service software. So our team that handles the service software and also the POS too, can be able to negotiate better with them to get better. I feel to get better rates for members completely. And then of course we already talked about the extended warranties. That's pretty self-explanatory, just like the rates themselves. Parts distributors. This is a question that once again, we don't know, we don't know. So if we're pushing parts distributors that you're not using, we want to go ahead and negotiate better terms with those parts distributors. So we just want to really know which parts distributors that we're using, so we can go to them, even like Sundberg. A lot of our members are using Sundberg from what I hear, but we don't know that. So once we are able to get this information, we can go to them and just say hey, we need to negotiate a better rate because a lot of our members are using you. We want better terms, longer ability to return parts, better shipping rates. So that's pretty much what we're doing with the parts distributors. And as far as the trade associations, we really want to know who you're partnering with besides besides the SLN group. And we can also go and work with them and say a lot of our members are part of your association, and try to go ahead and make sure that we know if we want to go ahead and be able to get better rates also with that too. Plus, we also are when like they have their conventions, we want to be able to communicate with you when they're having their conventions if you're not already getting that information.
And I'll just tag on the parts distributor. I'm currently this quarter have been in negotiations with about 5 of our parts distributors to create programs for you to be able to have better benefits than you would certainly get outside of the nationwide group. But again, we need to know where is the strength of nationwide, where is the strength of you as servicing providers. The more we know, the more we're able to go to market, to work with these folks with different programs and to get better terms and conditions for them. In fact, everything that is in this whole program is based upon the ability to give us the ability to negotiate better terms based on your feedback. I will say with the trade associations, we collaborate with the trade associations. We are in no way interested or planning to become a trade association. They have their competency, we have ours. It works better when we collaborate with them, which we do. We collaborate with Marcone, with Professional, and with United Appliance Servicers. And so they're all great organizations. Each one of them has kind of their own persona, if you will, and their own competencies. But it's a great reason for us to collaborate with them and not to compete. So it just helps us to know who the strongest partners are for trade associations, who the strongest partners are for parts distributors, same with TPAs and extended warranties, and the same with software providers as well. With that information, then we have a better position to go to market when we try to represent your needs with all of these different facets. And as you see, we tried to hit the main facets of your business that are critical to your success. Chad, if you can scroll all the way to the top. The service manager details is something that is critical to us. And it's for this reason. Yes, we've got, I don't know about, Lau could probably answer this. Lau, how many users do we have on MemberNet? Just as a general term.
We have about 5,000 members, and they probably have an average of four users per member, so like 20,000 or more.
Oh, that's a small number, isn't it? Not really. That's a lot of user IDs to be able to manage. What we have found in the past, and one of the reasons that promulgated this program, is we have found as we try to communicate with you, the servicing dealer, with you, the service manager, and you may be the owner, the salesman, the delivery person, the service tech, service manager, and the chief bottle washer. But without having that information available, our communications for the last year and a half have gone out, to people that are MemberNet users, and they have no interest in service, and very lucky if they are to forward that email on to you, the service manager, per se. So this is really important for you. As we mentioned before, if you don't have a user ID, please talk to your administrator. Tell them you need your own user ID so that you can go into the service center details, and you can then start to enter information in here. You'll have access to this that will be valuable to you. We know that we've got about 850 servicing dealers, and of those, I don't know the percentage, but I can tell you a good percentage of the communications that we send out probably never get to the right person who's in service. So that means y'all have been missing out on communications from us for who knows how long, for training that we've been putting together, for vendor programs, trade partner programs, training associations, training organizations. All of these you've probably been missing out on because you're not getting the email. So please take that into consideration. If you want to start utilizing this database and giving yourself some tools, then you certainly need to go in here, and maybe if you're not the right person, maybe if you're a technician attending this, but you've got a service manager, please explain this to them.
Hey, Mark, I will say on the MemberNet sign-on, there's a little area, and Chad, I'm just gonna quickly take control, share the screen real quick. You should see the nationwide MemberNet logon. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. See here, it says need help. If you don't know who your administrator is, you can also click need help. I need a MemberNet account. And then you could put down your name, your email address, and then what the member number is, or the vendor company name. This will go to a person that manages this database, and they'll contact you and just vet, ask a few questions, and then make sure that you're going underneath the right account. So we try to make it as easy as possible, and which helps us in the long run with better communication with you.
Chad, is there anything else you can share with us on this? Or have we covered it all?
We've covered the 2 pages that are that are completed and in production. There are several features that are upcoming, but those are not yet completed.
Can you tell us a little bit about the upcoming?
Well, I showed the national average comparison. What we'll be working on is, we mentioned, the regional and state comparison as well, and the reminder email system where you'll have 60 days prior, then you'll get a reminder, and you can opt out so that we don't flood you with a bunch of emails that you may not want. Let me pull up my. Okay.
And again, if any of you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please put those in the chat room there.
The rate increase renewal date for the extended warranties is another feature that will be coming.
There you go, folks. Ask and you will receive.
And we have a feature where we are importing the data into our nationwide BigQuery data set that we can run reports on and give you more detailed information. And then if there's any brands that I need to add, if there's any questions we need to change, software that we see that it is being used a lot, we can certainly add it to the list. And it's a very dynamic system that we have an admin side that we can manage it.
Thanks, Chad. And again, my hat's off and my deep appreciation to Lau and to Chad and their team for putting all of this together. Carmine and I feel certain that at some point we'll be put on caller block because they probably get tired of hearing from us. Can you do this? Can you do that? But we try to put the the functionality in based upon your needs as a service organization to help you become more efficient, more effective, and more productive and more profitable ultimately. So let's talk a step into the future. Can't give you a timeline, but we are also working on another tool that will be available to you, and that is called the manufacturer's scorecard or manufacturer's report card. What that program will do, it too will be web-based, and it will give you the opportunity to answer I'm going to say it's probably about 30 different questions about the manufacturer support. How do you perceive or how do you feel about the support that you're getting from your manufacturer, from your rep? So we ask detailed questions about that. Ultimately, it comes up with a score of 100. Would that be something that would be useful to you in your negotiating process with the manufacturers? Absolutely it would, because then you would have the ability when a manufacturer says, your performance, your key performance indicators, are maybe low in this area or low in that area. Well, let me ask you something. You're being graded on your KPIs, right? Every manufacturer has KPIs that you're being graded on, whether you know it or not. And I will tell you that I believe in Service Bench and in Service Power, you have the opportunity to go in and look at the reports of those KPIs by the manufacturers for your account. So that's something you need to consider doing anyhow. But this will give you the opportunity to throw the question back into the lap of the manufacturer to say, these are the things that we see that you're giving us a lack of support on. And it will give specifics on certain segments of the questions that you answer. So that's coming down the pike for the manufacturer report card. Again, that gives us on the nationwide level, that gives us a really strong negotiating tool with the manufacturers when we sit at the table with them to discuss sales agreements, because sales agreements are great, and typically most organizations, they leave out the service side of the business. But listen, to all of us that are on this call, service is really important. Service support is critical for all of us. So somebody wanted to.
Yep, I was just going to let you know, somebody wanted to have you talk about how to negotiate with the manufacturers.
Carmine, can you share your screen and show the navigation path to get to that segment?
Yes,
so
let me give me a moment.
The negotiation with manufacturers, obviously, I know that there was a need, and for decades with 5 different manufacturers sitting on their side of the table, I pretty much know what it's like to be on your side of the table, because I too own my own service, small sales and service business. I own both a self-servicing dealership as well as a independent service company. So I sat on both sides of the table over my tenure in this industry. When I developed these videos, I came at it with two perspectives. The first perspective is, what is it that you're being graded on? What are the KPIs that the manufacturers are looking at when they look at you? And Carmine and I can tell you, as field service reps, we got reports monthly on every one of our service accounts. And there was so much data that we could slice it and dice it. And that helped us to identify who our strongest servicers were, that were probably more, what's the word I'm looking for? More appealing to give a fair rate increase to, compared to the low performers who we didn't, we wouldn't give them a great rate increase because they weren't deserving of it because of the KPIs. And then the other perspective of it is, this is the second part of the series, is to show you how you can prepare yourself to negotiate those KPIs to the manufacturer. So Carmine is going to show you the path. You see we're here in the main landing page of the SLN, and it's under business, training, and software. We're probably going to separate those two. It's under the Service Leaders Network logo. My very first video was done on the cost of doing business. I will tell you that we have 3 different cost of doing business presentations within the Service Leaders website. And one of those is by me. One of those is by UASA. Dean Landers did a special session for us last year. There's a video in there from him. And there's also a company called Service Success Group. Carmine, did I say that right? Yes, Service Success Group. And they also are in here with a video on how to calculate your cost of doing business. In addition, they offer nationwide access to their free calculator. It's a self-calculating calculator that helps you to plug in your numbers to calculate your cost of doing business. And I'll give them a plug right now because we are currently at almost 2 o'clock. They have a session coming up next, actually right after ours, Service Success Group, Cost of Doing Business. So if you want to learn more about that, that's a great presentation to be in right there. So we've got cost of doing business. We've got the first one is negotiating warranty rates, session 1. As I mentioned, that's looking at it from the perspective of a field service rep who is the person sitting across the table from you. And Carmine, if you can scroll down just a little bit more. And then we have video session number 2, where we talk about those same KPIs, but what you can do to compile the information that you would need to be able to have that information available, and basically be able to substantiate your own KPIs, because I can tell you there's going to be some differences between what the manufacturer shows and what you show. So obviously don't have time to go into that. Our time is running short, but certainly do appreciate all of you, and please take the advantage. Now these that are in MemberNet, these are available all the time, not just with the post-show recordings, but keep in mind all of these sessions during these 3 afternoons are recorded, and you will have availability 24/7 on demand to view any of them or see them several times if you like over the next 30 days. So I think we're at our time here. Does anyone have any other comments, suggestions, questions? Great. As you can see, we are learning for, we're planning for our next virtual service conference. And at the end of the conference this week, you'll get an email that will have the URL and a QR code for next year, just about the same time for next year. So plan on that, register ahead, save your seat. Well, thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate you taking the time to sit in on this session. We hope that it's value added to you. And we're certainly open to any of your suggestions, and you can always email those to Carmine and I as well. Thank you.